Okay. Welcome to Entre in the second episode of the DLA DAO show. I'm Ben at Framework Fortune. We also have one of the other DLA DAO devs with us. Hopefully, a few more will be joining us, but Fresh Bueller. And we have special guest Stephan, who is a mastermind in the business world. And we're going to see what kind of light he can help shed on our DAO, maybe get some tips from him, and maybe anybody else out there who wants to talk to this incredible businessman here is certainly the time to do it. If you don't know what a DAO is, it's a decentralized autonomous organization, and we are a DAO built on DSO. We are an organization of gamers, investors, traders, artists, musicians, all of that working for one common cause to onboard people from Web 2 to Web 3 and help them in any way we can. And that includes understanding the economic, global systems and financial systems. So without any more delay, Stephan, how are you today? You want to hop in here, give everybody a little backstory on who you are, and then Fresh, you can hop in here, give your backstory. And we already got some people on stage, more people joining in. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hey guys, pleasure to be here. I super much hate talking about myself, but I'll be really quick about it. I've been a business consultant, coach, mentor for about 25 years. I started off as a systems integration specialist and moved into professional speaking, and then I went into consulting. My whole gig, if you will, from the beginning of time was how to figure out a couple of things: how to do business, and what is the psychology of decision making, and that's kind of like my whole shtick, if you will. It has been for a really, really long time, and I was able to take combination of things like that I've learned, like hypnosis and neurolinguistic programming and all this other kind of stuff, and kind of synthesize that information with business strategy, the systemization of systems integration, kind of combine it all together and come up with just, I think, really, I guess, down to earth practical ways on articulating to people what kind of things that you need to do, which ways do you need to think in order to be able to create pretty I would say spectacular outcomes in the business world. And so spectacular outcomes in the business world doesn't necessarily mean to me just making a lot of money. It also means being fulfilled while you're making the money. So that's me. Right now I'm building a coaching organization where I'm training about 150 some odd coaches are coming on board, and we're creating a whole sort of organization of coaches for coaches to help support one of the biggest problems that I see in the coaching industry, which is the idea that a lot of them have a lot of great wisdom and knowledge to share. They have difficulty articulating the value of what they offer, packaging what they offer, and getting, the kinds of, I guess, clients that they could potentially get with their offers. So my whole shtick, I guess, in the next year is going to be create a coaching community that coaches can't say no to. So we're setting it up in a way that we have technology, community, templates, systems, all and lead generation all in one package. So and it's going to go under the domain name coachfinders.com with a Z. It's not up right now, so you guys don't, at least in this specific moment, it's in the development environment, and we're getting coaches to try to break the system before we actually put it out live. So anyways, that's me. I have I guess, an outside of the box thinking style, and also I'm kind of, people describe me as a coach, but I'm not really a coach, because a coach kind of asks questions. I don't ask questions. I just make directions and suggestions with heart to people to take action. And I like to think that a lot of the things that I articulate and speak about are what I call irrefutable logic. So take action in a specific way that is irrefutable, that this logic is going to execute and create the outcomes that you want. So that's me.
Awesome, man. And you've been around. You see the previous financial markets. The now we have the Web3, the crypto. So you think that's brought a whole new aspect to all this marketing and coaching and all that, or is it all just the same stuff, the same human cycles? Because I know you're big into psychology too. A little sneaky drop there.
You know what? I think honestly, business is business is business. The way that if there's going to be an exchange, there's going to be exchange of value, whether it's crypto, whether it's fiat currency, whatever, whether it's trade or whatever it is, that there's an exchange. And so that sort of transactional exchange is the thing that I kind of focus on. How do you, how do you kind of simplify the whole thing? Because if we start going into, here's how to build a business in crypto, and here's how to build a business in real life, and here's how to build a business, and all that kind of stuff, rather than kind of zooming out and going into like a 50,000 foot view and just saying, here's the psychology of business creation in general. I think I think people need to move away from just talking about this very specific ways of doing things and go into a sort of more general approach, and start talking about, well, if this works in, I don't know, dating, it should work in business. If it works in business, it works in the crypto business. And you get what I'm saying? So it's more along the lines of, it's the psychology of the sequence of thought and action that creates the outcome that we're looking for, rather than going into specifics as to, obviously there's going to be some specifics in the crypto world than there is in some other worlds, but the specifics don't matter. I think what matters is the overall process, if you will.
I agree. It's all just people. Fresh, are you jumping in there? I see you got your speaker off.
Oh, I didn't even realize.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you want to hop in there, introduce yourself, Fresh, too, and then we'll pass around the room, let everybody say hi and stuff. And I mean, this is a great conversation to start off on, because I am with what Stephan is saying. Like, when I look at any type of charts for any trades or anything like that, from stock market to cryptos, because I trade it all, I'm thinking, those candlesticks, there's just people behind them. So if you understand the psychology of how people move, especially herd mentality, then you can really understand how to grow in the trading world. But I would say that goes in marketing as well, right? Like, the whole idea of marketing is to get the herd to get behind your product. So everything you just said just dealt it. But yeah, let's pass the room around a little bit here now that we've gotten started. And well, anybody got any thoughts?
Well, I mean, I just agree. I don't look at things in a normal way, like normal people or whatever you want to call them would look at things. My thought process is a little different, and I think I agree with what Stephan said.
All right. Well, Stephan, you just killed the show. It's over. Let's all go home now. I mean, that's
mic drop. Mic drop.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
ultimately, I mean, we're going to delve deeper into some of this stuff, I think, more specifically around what it is that, we're talking about here.
Oh, for sure.
That kind of stuff. So, yeah, cool. But yeah, I want to hear from everybody too. So.
Yeah. Don't be afraid. Speak up. Raise your hands if you want to come on, or just don't all talk at the same time. It'd be hard to communicate with that many people at once. But yeah, and let's see. H is not here to tell us about what the market update is, so I guess I will take a look here and see what kind of news.
Share your screen.
Yeah, okay. I don't know.
Meanwhile, I guess I'll just introduce myself quick.
Yeah, you do that.
I'm Fresh Wheeler. I'm the Unreal Engine dev for DLA DAO, as well as, I guess, the toolkit for DLA DAO. And yeah, I mean, I'm not really big on talking about myself. I think action speaks louder than words. So
Yeah. Amen
Hey,
to
there
that,
we go.
brother.
So I know the market started off, and I want to start with the markets here on the show just because we were talking about psychology anyway. So with the economic global situation right now, Stefan, what do you think about all that? Like as far as the currencies switching, the U.S. dollar's been pretty weak. I mean, I know we all got our own opinions and analysis, but I'm definitely curious to hear where you think we're headed to in this next year, if you have any, or you just out here just riding the waves.
Well, I'm going to tell you. So I'm not much of you know predicting potential and stuff like that. I mean, I can make assumptions, or but the thing is, you got to look at. I think the way I look at things is I got to look at things as they're happening specifically right now. So where we're at, like, so the crypto world is kind of kind of wild west right now. It's what I've called psychologically is called the values level 3. It's kind of everything that is going on right now is kind of we're trying to figure out what this world really is, and I do believe that it's going to be the future of society, and I do believe that this generation is going to make a tipping point where we're going to change economics of the world for sure. I don't know if it's going to happen in the next year or so, but probably in the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to have like like a big huge shift. And ideally, what I really love to see is the whole decentralization of economies completely, right? So and that's one of the things that's really exciting, and this is kind of like a theme that plays out in this entire entre world, and the world of the crypto is like there's a direct association to making money and becoming free at the same time. So I'm really excited about that thing. How it's going to play out, I'm not exactly sure. But I do believe that it's capturing the attention and the ideas of some very serious people. So these very serious people are going to probably turn around and say, okay, what are the top 3 big problems in the crypto space? Let's start fixing them, right? And that will happen. So we're just kind of like at the infancy stage of all this, and it's wild west. You can make a lot of money, you can lose a lot of money. That's all fantastic, fine and good, but I think really the idea is to keep in our hearts that this whole thing is based on the philosophy of becoming free fully and completely, and that's the thing that we want to, I think we want to embrace, is the idea that we're messing around with technologies that will give us the ultimate freedom. And so I'm excited about that piece. So I don't know if that answers the question, but that's kind of what came to me.
Yeah, that's definitely a different take than a lot of people you'll ask in the crypto world or the stock market world right now, for sure. Tyrell, I saw you come on the mic there. Are you trying to speak or?
Yeah. I just kind of want to, piggyback off of that and just say that, right now within this space, it's all about how we always talk about utility, but for me it's convenience, because that's for me, that's what utility means to me. Like, what is going to be convenient in the near future for crypto, for me personally as a consumer? Like, I know you guys hate when I say that, but it's like me, I have to think as a consumer to be able to fix the problems for consumers, and convenience is going to be a big thing. And so I believe that with these new platforms coming in and kind of, creating new utility, is going to come off as something to where, like, how can we use GPT? How can we use all of these artificial intelligence, all these automation tools to become more convenient in our lives? And then after that, can it become like a routine? Because that's what I'm big on. Like, can I use this for the next 6 months to a year without it being something where it's unbearable or overwhelming?
but do you think that chasing convenience is like a really good thing to put in the forefront?
I think for myself, it creates organization. I'm always trying to elevate. I'm always trying to expand, but convenience can help me, become better version of myself. I think sometimes when you're always in chaos, it hinders you a little bit, and we should lean in towards a little bit of convenience.
So can you explain to can you give me one example of what you would consider like a convenience?
And what facet you mean in regards to artificial intelligence, trading,
Yeah,
finance?
like
Or,
I guess in any of them, you can pick any of them. Like what are you hoping this technology
Mhm,
like what kind of a convenience are you hoping this technology brings you, or
mhm.
what's a convenience you feel you're afforded in your life?
Yeah, well, I'm a dimensional person in the sense of like, I like to get into different passions. I'm big into astrology. I'm big into numerology. I'm big into belief systems, but I'm also big into financial freedom. And I realized me being a part of these different communities allowed me to expand my mind and be more creative, but also be more disciplined first. And second, within like my trading convenience, I've realized that me being able to learn new skill sets on a daily basis and then actually go and execute some of these ideas and strategies has made me a better trader. I can kind of like, look at highlights per se of what I didn't see within the market and get like my own perspective on that. While, being from Syracuse, New York, the average person only makes 28,000 a year and they're definitely not investing their money. You know what I mean? And so it just broadened my horizons to the people around me who can educate me. The Telegram platforms that I had, I've gained so many mentors, so many relationships. And sometimes when you're not in the best living situation, you can have things like podcasts and things like that to kind of help you escape your reality while still learning. You know what I mean? Imagine if everybody, had to show their full lives of everything that's going on. Some of us would feel intimidated, like we're not worthy or not good enough for the information that's being shared. And I feel like, being a part of these type of platforms and being part of Web3 and things of that nature, we are validating ourselves, which is creating currency. We are showing more love and showing more attention to each other, which is adding more currency. It's not just about filters and hashtags anymore. It's about your voice, your message, what you stand for, how you impact people. So it's a mind shift mixed in with the actual technology shift, which creates convenience.
Well, oh yeah, go ahead. Who's you hopping in there?
Well, no, I just says I think it's an interesting perspective. Um, for me, the whole concept of convenience is the demise of society.
100%. This is why I was asking this question, because I don't prioritize convenience. I prioritize actually like hard work, and when you work the hardest, you get the best results. So like if something, I don't necessarily do things the hard way, but I try to do them the right way, not the easy way.
Yeah, like I don't know if I would look at it like that per se. Like, in terms of, this whole idea of, okay, so if we're going to say, if I'm going to qualify the whole point that I said, the convenience is the demise of society, I'm just going to give you an example. Like for me, what I find is that more like from a marketing perspective, from a psychology perspective and stuff like that, if you make something way too easy, then people start to get lazy, period, is what it is, right? So and I'm not for, don't get me wrong, I'm not for making things hard, but I'm for making things hard enough so that a person feels fulfilled in the process of creating something. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's more along the lines of uh, it's more along the lines of, let's put it this way. My wife and I, we order food from a place called Make Good Food, and basically for the longest time we would order from another place that would just make all our food, and it would come to our door, and we had food for a week, and it was all great and fine and dandy. But what would happen is it would force us, that level of convenience would force us to remain in our routines that didn't allow us to connect as a couple. So I would eat, we'd eat really quick, talk to each other for 10 minutes, and then we'd be done with it. So what does that do to my relationship over time is the question, right? So when I changed providers and I moved to eating from another place where it forced us to make food together, it was actually really cool, because then we could communicate and connect and exchange ideas, and it wasn't much longer. Like it was maybe another 30 minutes on top of let's say the 15 minutes that it normally would be to eat. I mean, grab our food, heat it up, and eat it. Now it's 45 minutes. We grab a box, make our food that takes 30 minutes, and then take another 15 minutes to eat it. But the time that my wife and I spent together talking and interacting and engaging with each other is priceless to me. So the convenience of eating food quickly, I mean, that sounds great, and it's a good marketing tactic and all that other kind of stuff, but the effect that it has on the back end, I think, is detrimental to a lot of different systems in society. One of them being obviously community with people, right? So I don't mind in taking jobs that are super manual and converting them to something more automatic, but they need to that thing that we're making more automatic or more quote unquote convenience needs to improve our humanity, not improve it. And improving it means coming more alive, coming more creative, coming out more you know, that we feel like the things that we're doing is more fulfilling, more exciting, more passionate, more, you know, like that kind of thing, versus, you know, oh yeah, it's easy, you know, you put these, you know, 3 pieces together and you get this outcome. Okay, that's great, and then that will increase your inputs, which is fantastic, don't get me wrong, but also what am I sacrificing for that to happen, right? So in the case of eating dinner with my wife and my family and stuff like that, I was sacrificing half an hour of communication that could literally fix a lot of problems in a relationship, especially if we're doing it, like, let's say 7 days a week, right? So we got to start thinking about moving away from the idea of making things convenient and making them at least in my opinion, is making them so that they impact the fulfillment of the person that's engaging with it, if that makes any sense.
Would you consider where we're at now with the advancements in technology? Everybody's very complacent as far like the mass consumer population.
If
Like
we
that's
don't make if we don't make a change soon, we're all going to be in Wall-E. Have you guys ever watched the movie Wall-E?
yeah.
Have you guys watched that movie? That's exactly what's going to happen. We're very close. I think realistically we're probably 5 years from that right now, and where, you know, we don't have to do anything, we don't have to take any action, we don't have to fix our bodies, we don't have to do, you know, everything is all just like snap your fingers and it's here. There's a problem with that, a huge problem, and and I, and to the effect, I mean, to the extent that we figure out that we need to be able to balance, let's say, convenience with fulfillment, right? And if we can figure out how to do that, I think, and we will, because I believe out of just sheer need, the dissolution of communities. I mean, if you see like right now, the reason that we're talking and stuff like that, because we long for community, right? We're longing for community, and we're getting it online, let's say, a little bit and stuff. But if we were all here, like let's say in my house, we would have a hell of a lot more fun, and it'd be a hell of a lot better because we're connected and we're in community with each other. So there has to be some responsibility of the people that create products and services that take into account, yeah, okay, I'm going to make something super convenient so then people will buy it, but will it destroy their fucking life? And if that's the case, don't do this anymore. Right? So to me, for example, when I look at Chat GPT and what it's doing, I see it as a tool, like a hammer rather than a replacement. Now, some people might see it as a replacement of jobs and work, and it might do that. It might. But I want to make sure that we start uh, engaging with our technology in such a way that it improves our humanity, not eliminates it.
I think that's been the common thing that everybody's been saying. You know what I mean? And like again, like my perspective is, you know, I understand the fear of laziness because I believe that people can be lazy. People cannot be accountable sometimes. People cannot. I talk about this all the time. Like, do your own research, study, make sure that you hold yourself accountable to your knowledge. But like, I truly believe that the technology that's coming into this, this world is meant for us to expand our horizons. You know what I mean? And I think that's where convenience that I would say. I don't believe that I do anything lazy. I think I like how we all say we all have our own genius mindset. We all are our own scientists in our own way. You know what I mean? And so we're gonna take the journeys that we take within this technology stage, but like we should not be afraid of it. And I feel like a lot of people live in a frequency of fear when it comes to this and not in a frequency of love and appreciation and gratitude that we even have some of this technology to be able to use in our daily lives. You know what I mean? I think we take everything for
But
granted.
I know we talked about this on the last show, Taro, but like
Mhm.
I wanted to kind of clarify this too last time, but I didn't. Like when I say like it's scary, like not even AGI, I don't mean scary like I'm afraid of it. It makes me think and makes me know that like I don't want to continue along that path. AGI is to me a little too far. AI being able to help us, I think definitely it's a good thing. I use AI for a lot of different things in my daily life.
We have to start looking at our tools as tools again, not replacements of
Right.
things. Like and I think that that's the key. These are tools, right? I mean, you go and you engage and you say, okay, well, I have to make a blog post, instead of sitting there, studying, picking up a book, and all that kind of stuff. You can get some ideas from, like, let's say ChatGPT or whatever other AI program you're using. And I think that's fine, as long as you take that and expand your personal body of knowledge, and then you share that body of knowledge with others in the context that you're sharing body of knowledge, right? And what's the purpose for? Like, what's that for? If it's for the enhancement of society and the enhancement of the aliveness of society, yes, let's do it, right? If it's for making things much easier in the world, to the point that we don't really even have to do much, like this whole idea of, oh, okay, I can think and move things with my mind. How stupid is that? I mean, I'm sure there's some things that are cool that you can do, and it's kind of a neat thing, but then I don't have to do anything, right? I just have to think, and then things start to change, and like, so therefore I can get fat. Right? I can sit in the chair and do nothing all day, and we're not made like that. Human beings are made, and this is one of my internal struggles. Is like I've had internal struggles when it comes to health for a while, in terms of, okay, is it important to work out and da 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 and all that kind of stuff. And whenever I was working out and I was doing it consistently, and I was putting myself through hard work, right? Because working out for me is super freaking hard. I hate going and doing it, but every time I put myself through it, I feel like a champion. I feel like I'm doing something. I feel like it's meaningful, and then I'm focused in a meaningful manner, and then I share that meaningfulness with other people. But imagine I don't work out and I don't care, and everything is like, okay, well, I could just hire someone to work out for me. I'll just watch them working out, whatever. Because that's the equivalent of AI, kind of, right? And some other things, really. I'm just watch that thing do the work for me, type of thing. I mean,
Can I be honest though? Like
yeah,
I kind of agree, but you're gonna hear my messaging. Like I speak in a certain manner that I don't want to copy and paste everything that this chat does. Like for the people who said like, yo, I just copy and paste my resume without even adding any tie to it.
that's
That
wrong.
to me makes no sense. That's like
That's wrong.
that's not really you. You know what I mean? Like I have to talk about my trials, tribulations, my memories, my dates, my, you know what I mean? The people who are real that I actually know within my literature. See what I'm saying? Like I can't just sit here and talk about something or even put out pieces of content without having some type of context on my life. You know what I mean? People like even my name itself, when people say bells, it has some type of significance
Right.
to me. See what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
I don't believe everybody has that same ideology when it comes to AI that I'm just gonna copy it. People who copy and paste are followers, not really leaders. In my
Well, those
mentality.
are the same. Those are the same people that trace drawings. Those are the same. You know, like those are not the people that like. Those are the masses, not
Well, I
the.
think it's to the extent of the copy, right? So if you use the copying to the extent that you don't have to think, then that's a problem, right?
I will
So
always question why though. Like I'm a why person. Like when someone's
Well,
like,
for,
why?
that's
Why?
what I was gonna say too. Like I need to know not even just why. I want to know who, what, where, why, and how.
Right.
I
I'm with
right,
you.
like
You're too
I can't.
skeptical.
Yeah,
I'm
I can't. I don't accept anybody's words. Not an
thank
AI.
you.
Not like
Thank you.
if you know. I think
Then I
like
need
not to.
references. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
like
bro.
I need to know. Like just not even. I don't even think like if God came down to me and said, you know what I mean? Like I still need to know. No, no. There's no word.
yeah,
That's
no,
100% to me.
and that's just in your inquisitive nature, which is awesome. And a lot of people, really want the solution without knowing the why. And the thing is that is a problem right off of the bat, because you have to know why you're doing it, why you're doing it this way, why you're going to have to know the why. So to me, that's a very intelligent statement. It's very intelligent to ask why something is, right. And those kinds of things need to be taught, or they need to be learned, or they need to be put through memes, through society, especially through business, because there's a lot of things like, I mean, I love Simon Sinek's work, which is the why work that he does and stuff, because it kind of opened up some eyes of people. It's just like, it's not enough for me to just to put something together. I have to know the reason why I'm putting it together, and in order for it to be something that is not only motivating, but something that is meaningful and purposeful. Otherwise, why am I doing it?
Well, the why definitely means the most out of all of the, who, what, where, why, and how.
Yeah.
Why matters most to me.
Yep.
Like, if
Yeah.
you're just doing it
I
just
mean,
to do it, or
that was the
doing it
question
just
that
to
got,
make money.
yeah. That was the question that got me to question my religion too. I mean, I'm Greek. I was brought up Greek Orthodox, and I denounced my religion in my 20 years old, because I asked a lot of questions why. Now, mind you, the why got me to the answers that I was seeking probably about 5 years later, which is great because it synthesized everything for me. But I think a lot of people don't ask that question. They just say, okay, what do I got to do? How fast do I have to do it? What's the easiest way? What's the best practices? And it's just like, no, why am I doing this first, right? Whatever this is, and why are we doing it this way? And then from there, you start to generate sort of an individualized meaning associated to that thing or to that action that you're doing. Otherwise, you know, there's no, in my opinion, like companies that can't move forward, they don't know who they are and they don't know why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So,
Like that's
Yeah.
what I found in the future. So yeah, I mean in the past, not in the future.
so let's take a bigger look at this instead of looking at like the individual level or even the company level, like
Yeah.
the ultimate why and what you were leading up to, I believe, Stefan, and this is something I studied a lot, is cycles. Why do we keep repeating these same human cycles?
Mm.
Okay.
Because this technology didn't just start out of nowhere.
Yep.
The first technology was cavemen rubbing two sticks together and making fire, and we've
Right.
Well,
had
then it's
technology
written in
grow.
the stars, brother. It's written in the stars.
So here's the thing. People in groups are stupid. Okay. So individuals aren't, but people in groups are stupid in a sense. Like what I mean is like there's patterns that play out through groups of people that create this sort of uh, this repetitive pattern, right? So in human nature in general, I mean, we have greed, need, the require for power, all these kinds of things. And these are the things that recycle it. So the truth is, I mean, if you really want to know if you want to go that deep in terms of, why are patterns reforming, from society to society? It's because we have not allowed ourselves to reevaluate our value system, right? Because if you think about it, all the biggest, most powerful outcomes in society so far have come from Judeo-Christian values. You can argue that if you want, but the truth is, a lot of the technology and all the stuff that's coming out today is coming out from that creativity from Judeo-Christian values, and it's the values that actually drive the innovation and the technology and all that other kind of stuff. So that's cool from one aspect of it. The other aspect is, okay, so what are the beliefs and values that we hold true in specific contexts that keep us repeating bad patterns? For example, I'll give you guys a very, very, very practical example. The whole concept of competition in business, in my opinion, is stupid. Not because it's stupid as a whole, like full stop. The majority of it is stupid because a lot of people, what they do is they they try to determine the size or the value of their product or service, by comparing it to what someone else has done. So it's competitive mindset. Like, okay, well, what have they done? How much did they charge? How much did they do? And what that ends up doing is it kind of creates this repetitive whitewashing of everything that we do, because everybody compares themselves to everybody else, and they're just being just a little bit better than everybody else, type of thing. So this competitive meme, this idea I need to outperform and outcompete the person beside me, or my quote unquote competitor, or whatever it is, in my opinion, that's absolutely wrong. I would rather a person make a shit ton of mistakes trying to figure out how to serve an audience without living in a vacuum, right? Because those guys are going to be able to create solutions and outcomes because they're not influenced by outside competitive sources. Now, doesn't mean that all competition is bad. Period. I'm not going to say that either. But the way that it's contextualized in business is wrong. That's number one. The other thing that is wrong in terms of meaning is business is war. That's another metaphor analogy that we use that is wrong. Again. So what ends up happening is if you create an idea, and that idea determines your questioning, your decision making, your directionality, your action taking, and all that other kind of stuff. If you create that idea and it keeps on, repeating itself over time, then it's this general meme in society around a specific context that is creating those patterns. That's what it is. So it's like, well, a truly transcendent and fulfilled person has zero requirement for power, okay? Because they want to share things with people. That's what a person that I believe is a person that is evolved, that's what they want to do. They don't care about power. You can get power if you want, right? The idea really is, okay, to what extent? Okay, all right, I've dominated the world. I've dominated this. I've dominated that. I've become the best of the best, And then what? 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 Right? Well, there's only one thing that I believe that creates an ultimate everlasting fulfillment in a human being, and that is the expression of God's work through their work and the work that they give to other people to express their work in the world. So essentially, this whole the whole mindset shift that must happen, I believe, and I believe guys your age and younger are going to probably make this happen, is that we need to move away from this mentality that we have to overcome something in order to create something, versus creating something that will serve not only us but the people around us. Like everything you look at around you right now is designed, was in someone's mind and they shared it with you and it made your life better. So business is the expression of your best service on the planet. That's the way it should be. But because of the competitive metaphor and the war metaphor and the power metaphor that imbues the work, it creates this sort of this sort of perspective that we have to outperform, outwork, out this the other guy. No, what you got to do is become the best version of yourself and express that through your systems, through your business, through your service, and and that will attract the most powerful people for you, because you're being transparently you, and then you're creating this outcome. And to me, that's like, I wrote a white paper called The Death of Competition, and and that's kind of like what the basis of the whole thing was, is this idea that, if we stop competing and we start cooperating and create a community that is bound by specific, like, values, let's call them values, and the values are good for us, others, and the planet, which means it's a what we would call an ecological system. It's good for me, it's good for you, and it's good for the planet. And I'm not talking just physical, just in general. And so when you operate from those principles, you'll be able to create stuff that will be unimaginable, number one. And then number two, I believe will eliminate this whole concept of the problems that we see in life through the patterning that happens over time. That's a long-winded answer, but that's how I think about it.
So that was a fantastic answer. And right as we were talking about cycles and human behavior and all this, Dev, I call Dev the legend. If you haven't met Dev yet, Stephan, he's an astrologer, our Entra Diso astrologer, man. He's real good with this type of stuff. And
Nice.
I want to definitely get his opinion on it if he's willing to come up here and speak. But I got to push back on you a little bit, Stephan, on what you're saying about competition. Like, don't you think survival of the fittest is a natural law that even humans have to abide by?
I think it's an antiquated mindset.
So would you say that all animals besides us have antiquated mindsets?
Correct. That's why we're humans and they're animals.
But why are we separate from humans and animals? That's what I'm pushing back on.
Because
Like, I don't see it.
we're not operating from, we're learning to not operate from an instinctual behavioral pattern.
Right, but we haven't learned it yet, right? That's the cycles repeating themselves.
We are. I think I can't really, I mean, maybe as a collective we haven't learned it, but if you look at, I mean, if I'm looking at guys that are coming up in crypto world and all that kind of stuff, the whole existence of crypto and the fact that we want to decentralize and we want to have freedom and all that kind of stuff. Well, why do we want all these things?
No, I agree with you individually, 100%.
Right.
But I'm talking, we're looking at the big picture. When I say we scaled back, we're talking about the mass consumers, right? Because if anything's going to change around the globe, it's going to have to be the mass consumers making those changes, regardless whether or not they're doing it.
And you got to
marketing only.
It's the value.
Like marketing always goes to your natural instincts. Marketing doesn't rely on your thought process and your being human. It relies on those animal instincts, those colors, those carnal things that you can't really control.
Well, okay, let's be very specific. When you say marketing, right? I'm going to assume, and just let me know if this is true, is that I'm going to assume that the majority of people that are hearing your message are like that, is what you're saying.
Possibly. I mean,
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
the masses of people,
the masses
of people, like, yeah, it's not like just a subset of people, like the masses, like including me and you. Even if you learn to look outside it, they still tap into those things. It's still why you turn your head when you see it, or and then okay, I'm not going to buy that. They're just like pandering to me in this way or whatever. But most people can't discern that, and that's just a carnal nature, right?
Well, it's the lack of understanding of the impact of metaphor, story, and analogy on the human psyche.
But in 10,000 plus years, we haven't lost that or learned to overcome that carnal nature or those instincts, those animal instincts. So what makes us different from other animals? So
once again, I think you're speaking in generalizations. In a sense, like we're in the process of. You got to think about it from a place of, a person that's going through value shifts, let's say society is going through a value shift. Like right now, society is going through a value shift, whether you like it or not. There's probably people that that have tried to commit suicide or are depressed or have like more than there was before, right? Because we're going through a value shift right now as a society as a whole. Now, what happens on the other side of it? I think, like I believe that we're going to be better off as a result of it, because what's happening is we're starting to recognize what's important in life now, right? So what I think is going to end up happening is, because like let's go back to, I don't know, Egypt or whatever, back in the days of tyranny and all that kind of stuff. Like that whole society meme where you have this hierarchical thing of the guy at the top and everything at the bottom, that's being challenged right now in a million different ways from a million different different industries and people and all that other kind of stuff. So we're going through the throes of moving through that. So I don't believe that a person can't evolve and change. Matter of fact, the technology that we have, like let's say if I don't know how to do something, and I can open up ChatGPT and I say, hey man, how do I think about this, because it's really bothering me, right? And then ChatGPT says, hey, do it this way, and it gives you a new perspective and a new idea. We're able to do that faster now. Like we're able to learn faster and grow faster. So the idea really is we need to evolve our values faster. And I'm of the opinion, and I'm not saying I'm right, I'm just of the opinion that right now we're going through a process that is going to force us to go into what's known as forced evolution, which we're being forced to evolve. So we either evolve or we die. That's what's going to happen. Now, that doesn't happen, I don't think, in the animal kingdom. That the animal kingdom kind of evolves over time, type of thing. We always have like these sort of decision points to make a choice, either this way or death. That's it. And so if we're going to go, from let's say the psychology of society in general, I have faith that we're in I hear it in the people around us. I hear it in the young people. I hear it in the millennials. I can hear that people are starting to shift their value system. We're having this conversation with Shorter on the other call, which was this idea that millennials are entitled or whatever it is. I think it's a misinterpretation of what these people really are, right? What they are is, people are looking for meaning, and the fact that people are looking for meaning, to me, means freedom and meaning. Those two things means that we're going through a value shift, and that value shift is going to be huge. So if you really want me to predict the future in terms of values, I believe we're moving into Star Trek world, and it'll probably happen in the next 10 years.
I agree. I think we're moving there very quickly, maybe even before 10 years. Right. Elon's already got rockets going up and back, exactly. Back, up and down, that's close to resource mining.
Think about their economic systems in Star Trek, and think about their value systems in Star Trek. It's all changing. It's all and the thing is it's really interesting. Human beings are really interesting. They kind of predict what they're going to do before they do it. Like we already have things like almost like the tricorders and all that other kind of stuff. We have all that stuff now. Like, we're super, super close to, that machine where you say, make me a coffee, and then it just makes a coffee for you. Like we're like, I don't think we're that far off, from that happening. So the technology may force us to reevaluate our value system, right? Because like I said, if we don't, then we're all going to end up like Wall-E. And I just believe in the human spirit too much to think that the majority of people are going to accept being fat and useless and just consume things. I don't think, like, it'll come to a point that people say, what the hell am I doing? I got to make a shift.
Well, it's kind of happening now, right? You see people are are not making enough at their jobs because wages are stagnant against inflation, and they're reaching out and finding other ways, and they're finding Web3 and stock trading and crypto gaming and trading crypto, like all these different things, even, drop shipping. There's all types of ways you can make money where you're not sitting there trading your time on a card for, US dollar. But I think what you're saying is a possibility, but I want to add in a element of reality right now. We have the World Econ Forum who is planning this future for us. They have been nonstop dropping live streams from this conference that's been going on the last 2 days.
Okay.
And are you familiar with the World Econ Forum?
Yeah. So Ben, here, let me ask you a quick question about those guys. Okay, just for a second.
Sure.
How many of the people in this room believe what they say?
I can't speak for everybody in the room. I don't know if I believe what they say, but so far, a lot of the stuff they're doing, like if you look at their partner list, it's Google, it's Microsoft, it's Goldman
Yep.
Sachs, it's
Yep.
top country leaders everywhere.
Yep.
They are out there saying for sure, they want to get to this one world currency, one world government type of thing.
Yeah. Well,
It's-
so to me, what I think that they're going to find massive amounts of pushback, because like at this specific moment in time right now, as we stand, what system of society do you 100% have faith in?
none. None.
I'd be interested to hear from everybody else on the panel. What system of society does anybody have faith in right now?
Tyrell,
Not a
anybody?
one. Not a one.
No.
Okay, so now we've lost trust in our farm, in our medicine. We've in our doctors. We've lost trust in our legal system. We've lost trust in our political system. We've lost trust in our you start to look at it and you kind of go, okay, there's one of two things that are going to happen. Either we're going to split society into a trusted and not trusted, which is more than likely what's probably going to end up happening. We're going to these guys at WEF, they're going to create a separate society just by default, right? I'm not going to play the game that these guys want us to play. There's no way. And I don't care how much of a billionaire you are, what you've done, or how you've accomplished it, and all that kind of stuff, because none of that shit matters to me. What matters to me is who you are as a person. And if your person is not a person that lives in a world of creating amazing things in the world rather than avoiding bad things from happening, then I don't want to talk to you. And 99% of the people that are in that conversation, at least what I'm seeing, is that they build structures for us to follow that are based in fear, which will not work. It'll work with some people, but it's not going to work on the long scheme of things, because we actually can't operate effectively as a society in the avoidance of bad things happening, because that's another reason we create this up and down success ladder. Because what happens is we take action and run and get motivated until we get just enough so that we overcome our problem, and then we coast. And then as soon as we feel everything is good, then we self-sabotage so that we can get more motivation, so that we can create another solution to a problem that we've created. And there's this sort of yo-yo results thing that ends up happening. And I believe guys like Jordan Peterson, like people that are starting to come out, are going to educate the populace that we need to move away from that stuff and move towards creationary and, faith in self creation stuff, moving towards the magnificence of society and all that kind of stuff. And when I speak about that kind of a thing, it lights everybody up, because that's deeply what everybody wants. I believe that everybody wants to create amazing things in the world, not to avoid bad things from happening. So when we start to lose faith in our experts, start to lose faith in our scientists, start to lose faith in all these different sort of systems that we've built in society, then the next person that we're going to start paying attention to is ourselves and our connection with our whatever we consider either our logic or our God, one of the two things. So it's either God or our logic. But either way, we're going to kind of go back into ourselves and start doing, taking action, if you will, on creating our personal freedom. Now, right now, I'm starting to see, if you're talking about the WEF ban and stuff, I'm starting to see people like all over the world, go push against what's going on there, right? I mean, the narrative is that's been taken over is, oh, all these big companies are doing this and that, right? Towards eliminating our freedoms and stuff. And I think, yeah, they're going to try, but they're not going to succeed, because you got guys like Elon Musk or some other billionaires out there that are going to be the antithesis of whatever is going on the other side. Because anytime there is something, there's always the direct opposite pushback to that something. So if we do have WEF, you better be 100%. I mean, you should know that there's 100% another group that is the antithesis of what the WEF is. And if I was that group, nobody would know I exist.
Oh, I 100% agree with you. I think there is that group that's going against them. There's too much financial turmoil in the markets with the, not just the U.S. dollar, but all the currencies with the BRICS nations coming together and all of that.
Yep.
Now, I agree too. Like this is why we're doing the show, is to the same thing you said about bringing people with like Jordan Peterson does, trying to educate people on this stuff. And that's why I'm so glad you're on, because you agree on some things, but there's some things like this where we kind of disagree at.
Yep.
And that's good. That's what we need. That we need this type of public debate and discussion to actually, civil, to actually, I think, do what you're talking about and evolve. But where I lose the faith at is, I'm in all these Web3 spaces, all these different places, talking to different people, and we're seeing the same carnal instincts that Fresh was mentioning take place, that survival of the fittest. Oh, I've got to sell my PFP or my NFTs that have no utility or whatsoever, and rug pulling and taking people's money left and right, all types of things like that. Like it's the Wild West
piece, right? That's what we were talking about, the Wild West piece, right? So
but I feel like that goes back into cycles, right? Like the reason why I think that we're more like animals than what you would say is because we keep repeating the cycles where we're like closer to animals, and then we get to this place where we feel like we're not like animals, and then we go right back to that carnal, like Wild West, like tribal thing that we can't escape.
I think that's an effect of the media, actually, to be honest.
Ooh, that's a good point. But that's the thing right now. The big companies we're talking about, the WEF, they own the media. So
but who's listening?
How many people have you talked to, and you mentioned the WEF, and they I think you're crazy? Like I've streamed it on my YouTube channel. I've sit there and made fun of them on my live streams and everything, and people will still say I'm crazy. It's not a real thing, right? Like I think if we're going to have a chance, we have to be educated, at least know who's competing against us, who's trying to take over. We need to know about them,
So Ben,
we need to understand.
You're 100% correct, and here's the thing that I need you to sort of start paying attention to. Pay attention to the people that are actually waking up versus the people that are asleep. And you're going to see that there's people waking up all over the world. Like my dad right now, he was like, me and him hadn't really talked for a bit and stuff like that, because we had like differing opinions of what was going on with COVID and all that other kind of stuff. And, finally right now, if my dad is starting to talking about, oh, those guys at the WEF or whatever, it means that information has been is trickling down to the layman. And that's what we want. We need the information to be trickled down to the layman. Now, however they get it, right? Whether, so the whole, let's put it this way. I think that the fact that Elon is created Twitter as a free, hopefully, as a free speaking platform and stuff like that, that's going to make a big shift. And we have less sort of like what's it called? We have less canceling and less taking people off platforms that have a voice and stuff like that, because there's one thing that I think a lot of these guys are afraid of, and I'm just gonna tell you right now. Truth can be felt, okay? And when a person is speaking the truth, that's what they're deathly afraid of, because there's nothing that someone that's WEF or whatever it is that can express to me or to anybody that when you were to compare it to an energetic version of the truth and what they're saying, that you can't go, well, yeah, this guy's, yeah, I mean, no. Do you know what I'm saying? So what God said is the truth shall set you free. And I truly believe that that's what we're in the process of going through. We're starting to realize. So the apocalypse in Greek means the great reveal. So I truly believe we're going through the apocalypse right now. It's not the biblical apocalypse that everybody thought, which is the end of the world and stuff like. I think we're going through the end of consciousness as we know it. And so yeah, so let's start to look at what is being created, what's being articulated, what's being changed, as opposed to what was, because what you focus on expands. So I want all of you guys to start focusing on what is in the process of changing for the better, rather than just focusing on what the process of we've been trying to fix that has been broken for such a long time, right? So if we can get everybody just on that mindset and then forget all the other stuff, whatever that is, we'll be bringing more and more and more and more people, what I call, to the light. And I truly believe and this is the difference. You can't go up to an animal fresh and say, hey, do you want to have a more fulfilling life or not? Right?
But you can't, because you don't speak to that animal's language. But how do you know they don't say that to each other? How do you know that they don't do other things like that?
Well, I
think that to me, like, and I don't mean this as a shot at you. I just mean in general. I feel like humans are very arrogant in that way, that we look at each other, at ourselves, like we're bigger than or more than these animals, when we see things like dolphins who love, who get high, who build societies like in their own way. Like, just because they don't need what we need doesn't make us better than them or more than them, to me, in any way.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that we're better than them in any street, but in the context that they are an animal, they're living the life that they want to live, right? We have the capacity to constantly evolve to the next level mentally and intellectually, right?
I don't know that is fact, because I don't know that they don't, because you see monkeys learning to use tools, you see all kinds of different stuff, right? So like, I don't know
why can't the monkey? So are you telling me that human beings used to be monkeys?
No.
Oh, okay. So why can't monkeys right now do math, algebra?
They've never learned it. They've never been taught it, and we don't speak their language in a way to teach them. You're just showing them a bunch of symbols and expecting them to understand English. Again, I feel like human arrogance. If you spoke monkey, you'd be able to teach them math. I think they're, again, brighter than you think.
Oh, I'm not. I see, and that's the whole thing. I don't consider it bright or not bright. I'm not saying that piece. What I'm saying is
it's probably a bad choice. But I
think we're more
of words. But what I'm saying is that, like, I do think that we are just animals, just like them. We're just a different species with different rules that we follow. That
fair enough. Fair enough. So you don't feel like you're special?
I don't feel like I'm special compared to an animal.
No, I'm not talking about compared to an animal.
I feel like we're all special. Everybody's special. I'm not. Okay, cool. You'll never be me. I'll never be you.
Cool.
That's not in question for me. What's in question for me is that, like, that animal, or that we're less, or we are not just another animal. Like, what I believe in a creator. I don't believe in a religion. So I believe something made us, and I think that, like, I think we were all animals to that thing that made us. And we just have this ability to speak in this language, and they communicate in different ways. And they rely more on body language and sense and things like that we couldn't even comprehend using to know each other.
Sure. So that's totally fine. You can. I mean, Everybody is allowed to have their beliefs as long as their beliefs are in alignment with their ultimate outcome, and their ultimate outcome is being met, type of thing, right? And I think that that's the difference between human beings and animals. But then once again, we're going back to what I had originally said. You need to start operating in a vacuum, not in comparison to something else, right? So let's, like, just like I wouldn't compare myself to another business person, I'm not going to compare myself to an animal. Okay. What I want to do is I want to compare myself to the worst version of myself, or the last best version of myself.
Well, like say my mentality for myself is like 1% better every day, one day at a time. You know, like
Perfect. Yeah.
but
Yeah. And that's
but
good.
again, I don't see that as um again, I still believe that I'm an animal. Like I believe that humans are just another type of animal.
That's fine. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that. I'm going to say this though. I'm going to say, if you don't allow yourself to feel special, right? But you're saying that you do allow yourself to feel special.
Yeah,
So
for sure. I
then
I
that's
I
fine.
know I know I'm special. Like I mean,
Okay.
almost to a fault maybe. Like maybe I think I'm too special. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
I'm
well, and I don't think that's wrong. Like, here's the thing, right? See, if you don't think that of yourself, who's going to think that of you?
well, I mean, it's not my business what they think of me, to be honest, right? Like it's not my business. It shouldn't affect me like that.
Exactly. Exactly. So you think of that of yourself, and then it gives you the skills and the utility to be able to create magnificent things in the world. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree. But that's the whole thing. Like, once we start doing comparisons, like I said, like competition and comparisons and all that other kind of stuff, we could disagree until the cows come home. The question is, what it's not about it's not about us compared to that. It's about us compared to our potential, our ability, and our capacity as human beings to be able to create magnificent outcomes in our world, right? And I believe that if you're at the point where you are thinking at this level, then you put yourself in a place of responsibility to serve the world around you.
100%.
And if we take that responsibility on, and I think that's one of the big messages of Jordan Peterson too, is if you take on a position of personal responsibility for change, or for up leveling, or for problems, or whatever it is, you start to shift, and then that will potentially be the catalyst that will shift the memes in society. Go back to individual responsibility, right? So um so that like, going back to what we were talking about, why do people why do we repeat these patterns? I agree with you that there's patterns that are being repeated, but I also think that we're at the stage in reality right now that we're just about to the place that we're creating tools that are smarter than us and that could educate us to a next level of value.
So
Right.
with that, I agree with you. There's definitely a ton of technology that brings a whole new value. There's no doubt about that. I mean, Bitcoin, I mean, the whole crypto market's a trillion market cap. Earlier broke back over that. So, there's no doubt about that. My main thing is like the technology, it's like a sword, right? Like
Yep.
it comes down to who's swinging the sword and
Yep.
who's on the other side of it. Like I agree with you. I think we all have the ability to create and try to break the cycle that we've repeated. It's just basically the cycle of empires rising and falling,
Yep.
decentralization to centralization and back.
Yep.
And I think we have the capability,
Yep.
but I think it comes with not just a few individuals. Like it's going to take a mass amount of the population, and whether or not they like the art of war was written so long ago, and that continues to hold true. Like it's used against us all the time. And my concern is not that we individually can't break out of this, it's that the damage is already done, because it may be too late, right? Like people are waking up to the WEF now, but the WEF has been doing this for years. Like this has all been in the works for years, right? So it's
But
going to take.
yeah, But the fact that me and you actually now recognize it and it's coming down to the layman's terms means their power is fading. That
Would
their power to be able to influence it was more powerful when we didn't know we were being influenced. Now that we know that we're being influenced, we're going to have different choices.
But you have so many people, and I feel like that like are slave minded. Like I wouldn't even say
I agree.
1% of the population is woke or woke up to this shit. Like
Oh no, there's way more than that.
I don't
Way
believe so.
higher
Like
percentage.
1% of the whole entire world's population is 78 million people. I don't believe there's 78 million people, and if there is, we need to make an army.
Well, and this is what I agree with you. So here's where I go back to my original conversation. We that understand this have a fucking responsibility
100% we
to
do.
tell everybody around us to engage in systems and behavior and business that enlightens the people around us. That's what we have. Like and this is the reason why I'm building what I'm building. I've been semi-retired for pretty much 20 years. Okay. So I almost, like, you guys don't know this story or whatever, but I had a pretty serious heart condition a few months back, and I kind of came to a kind of like a precipice for me, as like, why am I doing what I'm doing? Like you said, fresh, like why do I even exist? Why did God allow me to live after all that? Because deep down inside, I feel that I have a responsibility. So I have to like buck up, shut up, go out there and build something fucking amazing and get a lot of people on board to come and play the game, so that we can start to bring people to the light. And the business world is the only world, in my opinion, that has the capacity to change the world on a grand scale. So we need to get to a point where we're financially or within a community that has powerful influence over the masses. That's what we need. We need to move and create our own WEF, Ben. That's what we need to do.
Oh, 100%. That's something we've been talking about with multiple DAOs and other stuff, is like a council of DAOs or something like that in the Web3 space.
Yep.
Because they're organized. That's the thing. The WEF is organized. We're not. That's what I was saying earlier. We're all fighting each other over the breadcrumbs of the crypto market and NFTs right now.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that let's say, let's put it this way. Okay, so at the beginning of the pandemic, because I'm a strategist, I had a few people that ran some pretty big sort of organizations when it came to being what's it called, the antithesis of what was going on in the world with it came to COVID. So Hugs Over Masks, a bunch of different organizations like that came to me, and they said, help us build a strategy, right? To be able to, wake up the people. And I said, there's only one strategy that'll work. You all join together and create 3 or 4 messages that you all say the same thing. And then we'll start to wake up the population. But if every individual goes out there and becomes an individual organization, an individual this and an individual that, and everybody's saying something different. Because I went to rallies sometimes in the past, and some of those rallies were, we were talking about, hey, you know what, it's time to like take off the mask or whatever it is. And oh, by the way, there's flat Earth. Who gives a shit about that right now? Right? You know what I'm saying? Like,
can we all stick to one thing? But no, it never will be that. And this is the problem: is aligning everybody together for one thing is like, it's one of the most difficult things. And I agree that the onus is on us. Like the people who are 100%. Awake, it's on us. But we need to be doing a better job of vetting the people. And I don't mean by looking at their resumes. I mean by spending time speaking to them and learning who they are and getting better at recognizing.
We need to look at their actions to see what their value systems are. That's it.
Exactly.
But I'm going to chime in here. I've been listening. I have to say, it's never going to work. I hate to be that guy because it's just not going to work. The HOA for a housing association starts with the idea, let's make our housing a better place, and ultimately gets corrupt. The religion, organized religion, starts with a good message and ultimately becomes corrupt. Not a single crypto has a bad connotation because it started with a great idea. Let's decentralize. And it somehow has been corrupted by someone in power that took advantage of that situation. So I honestly don't think what you're talking about will ever become a reality. Even if you put great minds together, eventually it'll become fucked up.
Fair enough. And if that's what you believe, then that's the reality that you're going to create for yourself.
It's a reality that presents itself. It is.
That's not my reality, Alex. It's not my reality at all. I'm going to be working with people that are going to be serving people at the highest level. And that's the reality that I'm going to manifest and I'm going to create. And my reality, what I focus on, is going to expand in my reality. That's how I've created my reality up until this point. That's the reality that I'm going to create from now on. And those people that want to create that reality with me will jump on as well. Now, will I have a massive impact in the world? Maybe, maybe not. But the impact that I will have, I'll be able to die with and be happy that I've done the best I can with the resources I currently have available to me. And all I can ask for everyone to do the same thing.
You're talking about creating your own individual reality that can affect people in a way that you can move forward. So it's
that's what I want. Yeah. So you do the same. Tyrell does the same. Fresh does the same. You know, Ben does the same. Shorter does the same. Right. Stanley does the same. Everybody starts to do the same.
But when different,
it's better to create a vacuum and then what? Expand the vacuum? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. So you create your own vacuum in your own world and expand that vacuum. That's all you do. So if you guys really want to like think about this, like just let's think about it from like a quantum physics lens for a second. Okay. What you focus on expands and you manifest, period. Okay. So if you and I and Ben and all that kind of stuff, let's say we're part of this DAO and stuff like that, and we all agree that it's impossible for us to fail. Okay, it's impossible for us to fail because we'll accept misdirection, or lack of direction or whatever, because we'll constantly modify our approach until we get our outcome. But we're all going to agree that we're not going to fail. But in order to not fail, we have to agree what is success for us. Okay, so we all put together sort of like this value system, and we say, okay, we're not going to fail because we're going to focus on success. What is success for us? We all agree that this is success, and then we don't stop until we make that happen, whatever that is. The impact that we're going to make in the world in the process of making that happen, whether we do it or not, fully complete it or not, is going to be so vast and so huge that it'll be undeniable in terms of the results that we're going to create around us. Undeniable. So you have a choice. We all have a choice. The choice is we could sit there and say what doesn't work and what doesn't happen and what we can't do and what's not possible and all that other kind of stuff. Or what we can do is going to say we're going to live in a vacuum. We're going to act as if nothing can fail, and we're going to play that game as long as it takes. Okay? That's all we're going to do. We're going to play the game as long as it takes.
Yeah, I love it. I get where you're coming from on this. You're saying like every action in reality is going to have a chain reaction, and by you manifesting or us all together manifesting is more powerful. More minds than one mind is always better.
Brother, man, we like it only takes, and I don't want to be platitudinal here, right? But it really only takes I would say a handful of people to make an extremely huge difference in the world, as long as that handful of people can't be wavered in their belief system in what they're creating.
Right. And that's what we all need to be doing, and that's what we're trying to strive for as well.
Right. So
With
instead of
with
having
the DAO.
conversations, right? Instead of having conversations of what doesn't work, we need to be here in focusing all our energy as to how can we be 1% better today as a team than we were yesterday. Like what Fred said,
Exactly.
right? That's it. You know what? Regardless, the whole world is falling apart around us. I don't give a fuck because my world is gonna be amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
like
I
that.
get. I
I
get.
do like
I
that.
get. Yeah. It's definitely a half glass full type of view for sure, and I think it's a great view to have. I'm with you on that. I have that view. That's
Yeah.
what, like I said, that's what we're trying to do.
Yep.
But I do think it's important. We have to, look at the past, at what mistakes we did make, to make sure we don't repeat them when moving forward into the future.
Your
But no,
mistake.
I don't think we should dwell on them. What I'm trying to get here today, though, is where you're getting us to, and where Fresh has been getting us to, and you guys who are also on the stage, if you want to speak,
Yeah.
feel free to
Right,
raise
you
your
want me to
hand and
call
jump
him a
in this
hero?
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I can
yeah.
talk.
Don't let
I can
Stephan
talk
make it.
everybody's ear off. Remember, I was a professional speaker, so I can yap forever. So you guys go.
Yeah. Everybody will spread the room around if you guys want to jump in on this conversation, give
Real
your thoughts and
quick,
stuff. Because I think
real-
this is how if we are going to get there, whether or not we don't have any evidence from previous human cycles of us being able to break it. But this time, I think we have a chance. And if we do it right, I think we can do it. Whether or
well,
not we
we've
will,
got to.
that's where I can't, I say I'm with you on the whole attitude. I don't think anything is impossible. I think everybody has the capability to do what they want to do individually. And again, when we're just talking about society like this, any action is going to cause some type of chain reaction. So I agree. What we do here, where we build from here, is the chain reaction that we need to create to spark something, or if something's already sparked, add to that fire, right? So
Strive
I
for the
think we can get
impossible every day.
exactly.
That's
I
what I.
think we can get there, but it takes all of us educating all the time, right? Like that's the main thing. Like if how do we fix everything we talked about today? Like the first episode, we talked a lot about the symptoms
Yep.
of the system, and
Yep.
now today we've talked about a lot of the back end and a lot of the psychology of humans. So now that we've went through all this, we know the main thing is education. Like that is number one. And if we don't educate, then we're
Values,
going to get regulated. Wouldn't you agree?
values articulation first, and then values acceptance and values alignment is the
Hold
is
on,
the process
real quick. H, can you put your hand up so we can bring you up to the stage?
Yeah, one of our other devs just popped in, our security dev. There he is. But yeah, this is Stefan. I appreciate you sitting here to enduring the firestones thrown at you, especially Triplet. He loves coming in out of nowhere. It's
No, you know what?
not the first time he's got me like that too. So I'm with you. Don't
This
worry.
is how shit gets done, Ben. Right?
Yeah,
Shit gets
oh,
done with
100%.
us.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
that's why I
this is
respect you, and I'm so glad to have you, on here and be able just to talk to you, because
I'm
we
I'm
can
honored.
disagree, but we know that we can disagree and make progress, and that's
Yeah.
a big thing. That's
Well,
how we move
you
forward.
find some common ground in the
Right.
disagreement, right? Like again, you find that the disagreement, even though you're saying you don't agree, the fundamental value is the same thing, and I'm okay with that. We can, as long as like again, I believe in certain things that like I will die on, and
Yep.
other than that, I'm good. Like just don't hurt people, don't hurt kids, don't hurt women.
Yeah.
Like don't hurt people in general, but like
Yeah, I mean, there's fundamental things like the preservation of society is the reason to do stuff, in my opinion, right? So, and the people around you,
I'd have to give you pushback on. I would have to say not the preservation of the current society, but moving to a better one and the preservation of human life and human values.
sure.
Because I don't like where society is right now, and I don't want to preserve this at all. I wish it would go away and everybody would forget about it, and we've got to move to something.
Well, going away, I think is what you're talking about. Is when our systems change, like when uh, when when we get what's it called, the media to actually be what the media is supposed to be again, then
Yeah,
all that
like
gonna start-
report the news and let me have an opinion. Don't report an opinion and let me have to decipher the news. Same with
Yeah.
the government. Serve the people and let the people be private citizens, not me having to tell you everything and you get to be private. We're working very backwards, right? So, and again, I feel like it always gets here. Like cycles show us it always gets to this point. So we're due for a new quote unquote empire to rise.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt, and the we're collectively as a society going through a value shift right now. So so we'll see.
I kind of call it a societal deterioration. You know,
Yeah,
because we're
again,
and
I agree.
not even just society, but like we're literally seeing buildings deteriorate around us. You know, these Sphinx and all that are still standing, and you go downtown in my city right now, there's buildings that are crumbling. Right, you know, so I think that's part of this cycle that's coming to an end. But that's all. That's all what we got to change, and the way we have the reason why we have to join, like Stephan is saying, and you know all this that we're talking about, is because the only way to get this power back that I see, and anybody's feel free to jump in and challenge me on this, but we have to be able to move the world reserve currency completely out of the way. Right. There's no currency. When there's a world reserve currency, that's like an emperor of all the money itself. We remove that by taking GDP away from all the countries, especially the ones that are aiming for world reserve currency, already have it with Web3 and our own businesses, our own empires, like Stefan is talking about creating. But we don't, if we take it all at once, then we run into the empire problem again. There needs to be competition, I believe, of all those currencies. No world reserve currency. Value is just value instead of the shenanigans that we've been living through. So if we can educate and then take people who are educated and they keep their money over here, or they keep their belongings, their assets on NFT technology instead of the traditional ways, well, now those traditional ways lose strength and we have an actual competition between everything instead of just one thing ruling over all, right? Because currency is what basically has ruled the world forever. Currency or money or whatever you want to call it. It's the
So
necessity of survival.
my only thing is that right now with that is that like let's say for example you tie a real world property to your NFT, you remove the money stays in Bitcoin, you remove that money from the GDP, but then your wallet is susceptible to attack. Everything
Right.
is susceptible to attack, and now you lost your house to some guy named Jim down the street who fucking ended up
Right.
getting your whatever, getting your wallet code passcode or whatever,
But that
and
already
he
happens
owns your
with the
house.
banks, right? Like Wells Fargo and Chase and Citi, they get hacked all the time too.
But they shouldn't be able to, like, this is why I believe in like things should be paper filed, right? Like there's got to be a redundancy system, right? Like I don't know.
Oof,
There-
paper file. That's a rough sell right now for sure. Shorter, I saw you unmute. What you got to join into the conversation? Come on, let's hop in there and chat. Shorter, he's unmuted. I don't know. You was showing you're unmuted. I don't know. Anybody hear him, or is he rugging right now?
I don't hear him either.
Okay, I was just making sure it wasn't my phone because, like I said, I've been having problems.
No, I'm on the PC.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Tyrell, you've been quiet for a while, man. What are your thoughts on this? Because you're definitely part of the younger generation that is going to be dealing with all these previous systems collapsing, the inflation that's already happening, you know, the higher taxes, all this. What do you see for the future at your age right now, because I do think out of all the ashes, there's always a phoenix that rises until the phoenix crashes back into the ashes. That's the the legend of the phoenix, right? So I think that this newer generation, they're very, very spread out. They think outside of the box. The ones that are not like the rest of the generations that are the part of the mass that's been pretty uh, complacent and propaganda. I call marketing propaganda. Stefan just I know that probably is probably sorry, man. I know you're into marketing, but that's just what I call it. But yeah, you know, it's just a lot.
You're right though. It depends who's doing it, right? You know,
Right.
I think it just depends on who's doing it for sure.
If you
though.
break it down to its simplest terms, it's just some business's propaganda about their business. It's not like I don't think it's such a negative thing.
Yeah, we put a lot of weight on words, I think,
Yeah.
in society where if we didn't put as much weight on them, like put negative connotations on survival or selfishness. Like selfishness is survival. It's not
Well,
necessarily a bad
selfishness is
thing to be selfish.
necessary. It's
Right, you'll
necessary.
die if you're not
Yeah,
selfish.
if you're not selfish at all, like that means you won't eat, you won't drink, you won't anything. Like
Right.
because it's for you. No, but that's for you. Like you
And
have.
manipulation, that's another word too. Like you manipulate when you breathe. Like as soon as you breathe the air, you're manipulating the ecosystem around you. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just
Well, in
we put those
everything that
negative
you do,
connotations.
you manipulate the scenario, right? Like your words manipulate it. It's not necessarily in a bad way. It doesn't necessarily mean you did a bad thing. But if you didn't say it, the scenario would be different. Ergo, you manipulated the scenario.
I think if you contextualize it and you say, what's the intent behind the behavior, then you can determine whether or not it's quote unquote good or bad, right? So
Yeah,
separating
which I
it.
mean, I'm very much against that term, like good and bad. Like I think like evil's in the eye of the beholder. Like but I would say like I don't know.
I thought that's what you
K-
guys were talking about, manipulation being good or bad or whatever. That's what I
yeah,
thought.
but I mean, I think that we make it seem like it's a bad thing, and I think like bad is kind of subjective, right? Like you can't really. That's
Agreed.
kind of my point on it. Is bad
I,
is subjective. So like, saying like a certain word, it all matters about like who it's bad. Who it might be bad for me, it could be good for you.
yeah,
And
it's
that
all
and it's not
everything.
done out of malice just because it's bad for me. Like if you do something that benefits you
Yep.
and you didn't know it was going to affect me negatively, but it affected me negatively anyways.
Yeah, that's
It's not, you know what I mean? Like there's no intent behind it, there's no malice behind it, and like,
right. That's why it's better to look at intent rather than behavior to determine whether or not you want to do things, right? So that's the whole thing about good and bad. Like, going back to it, I agree with you 100%. I mean, I everything in different contexts means something different. Killing people is bad if you just walk out and kill your neighbor, but it's good if you go out to another country, put on a uniform, and shoot someone. So you're celebrated for it. So
well, I'd even break it down simpler. Like if you just go
That
shoot your
was
neighbor,
hard.
it's bad. But if you go out and shoot your neighbor because you seen or you found out he raped your daughter, that's a good thing, in my opinion.
yeah. Well,
You know what I
once
mean?
again,
Like it can happen in the same location, just
yep,
the scenario changes, and
yeah. So it's just context, right? So all
yeah,
things are context dependent. So saying something that is good or bad is incorrect. Actually, it's like
yeah,
good in what context, bad in what context, right?
yeah.
But yeah, so from a marketing perspective in general, if you were to say all the people that are out there marketing and stuff like that, yeah, it's a form of manipulation, and that's great, as long as the intent is to serve, in my opinion. So
And I believe that
Right.
that's also like dependent on who wields the sword, right? Like some people's intent is good. There are a lot of companies and businesses out there who their intent is good, but somebody like McDonald's, their intent is not to feed you. Their intent is to make you buy their food so that they can make money. They don't give a shit if you eat it, throw it in the garbage. They don't care if you hate it. They just want you to buy it.
agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed, 100%. And that one's, and that's the thing. Like, I don't like marketers that do things just for the sake of getting people to buy stuff. I like I like marketers that do stuff to align their product or service with the values of the people that are buying it. That's what
I
I like,
agree. I agree.
right? So, but yeah, like I mean, these are good discussions because I believe we're moving in a great direction. Even the handful of people that are here, if we all decide to be the masters of our own domain, meaning that we're going to go out there and going to serve people, we're going to do it with good intent, then we lead by an example, right? And I think that that would be the key thing, is to lead by the example of serving others and speaking that into existence and bringing people from the darkness into the light. And what else is there to do? What is to serve and share people. I bought a nice house, not for myself. I bought a nice house because I'm bringing my friends over and we party, and then my clients come over and we have a good time, and and all that kind of stuff, right? It's all, I think it'll get to a point where we start to recognize that the true fulfillment of self comes in the fulfillment of others. Buckminster Fuller said it a long time ago, or no, sorry, J. Paul Getty said it a long time ago. He goes, "You can get into anything in the world that you ever wanted, as long as you help other people get it first." And if you can, if we can build around that concept, serving people while we're serving ourselves, we're going to make a really good world. That's what I believe.
Well, that was actually like my philosophy getting into this like Web3 thing, right? Is I just came into the space and I offer people what I love to do
Yep.
for pay. you
Yep.
If you need this done, I love to do it, so I'm going to give it my all. You're going to get the best results, and you can pay me for it because you were going to pay somebody else. So why
Yep.
wouldn't I capitalize on that?
Well, and I think that's the point that Stefan's been trying to make too, is like, we only have a limited time on this earth. And if you are not fulfilling yourself, if you're not doing something that's fulfilling and you're miserable, even you can make millions of dollars and still not be fulfilled and be completely miserable. I mean, that's why we see, all these different music artists and celebrities that OD and do all this type of stuff. So you do have to, even though there is all these forces working against us as individuals, you do want to have that fulfillment, I believe. Real quick, let's go to H. H, are you here? Let's get a market update. Would you trade the stock market this morning? What was it looking like? I saw it was like a crazy crash out of nowhere.
Trash, absolute trash. The SPY coming down, everything coming down. I was like, okay, today is not the day.
Was there any crazy news or anything that came out? Because cryptos and
it was
everything
just
dropped.
all of this run up, all of these people getting in on the January kind of hype, the beginning of the year, where the SPY is just ripping crazy. It's like, okay, and also oil continues to play around under $100. I don't know what they're trying to do with oil. I just wanted to just continue to come down so I can pay less in gas. I'm just to the point now. I'm like, I don't know what the market wants to do. It's so shifty because no one wants to make a decisive action. The Fed, everybody just on pins and needles. The prop traders, the professional traders, from head to toe. I'm like, you know what? Everybody's getting burned, so I'm gonna stay out of the fire.
Nice. For you guys who don't know, H, if you want to introduce yourself, did you? I don't think we introduced ourselves at all in the first episode, but yeah, if you want to introduce yourself and what you do, and with our security dev. Triple
So
hates the dev titles, but he's got a dev title now on his profile for y'all that haven't seen it. But go ahead, H.
So I've been basically working in IT for about I'll say about 15 years. Just doing all kinds of work around IT, but I found my love, which was in the more of the security space, cybersecurity, and I've seen the development of Web3 since the beginning. I'm talking about even before, even with when I first saw Bitcoin, when it was like, and I regret this, but it was like 50 something dollars. I saw it, I was like, wow, that's a great idea, or that's an idea. And I was like, man, that I don't know what's going to happen in that space. And I didn't even know at that point, I didn't even know if it would be a space. Um, but yeah, definitely got interested. I invested a little bit in Bitcoin. I wasn't one of those that just dives all in and is like, oh yeah, this is it for me. Because I'm an investor. I look for opportunities, and if I see something that may have some potential, like I do in my on a regular days basis when I'm trading, I'm like, okay, well this looks good, but I'm not completely certain, so I size down. So that's kind of what I did on Bitcoin. But since then, I've been watching the crypto and Web3 space build the different projects. Oh my goodness, so many projects. And of course, me and Ben, we've done so much research into these. I like projects that align to what I believe in. So, or what I know, like IT, real estate, things like that. Oh man, I love those projects. Um, Me and Ben, we've looked into a lot of them. Ben actually really got me back into crypto after the whole Bitcoin rip. I lost hope when Bitcoin took off. I was like, man, I don't know about this, man. I don't want to buy too high and just get caught holding the bag. But Ben introduced me to new things in crypto, new projects, and the different vocabulary and things. I was like, oh man, this is great. And one of the things that I love is seeing the young people get into crypto and actually learn about the projects, not so much just blind investing, doing the whole diamond hand thing like AMC and GameStop, but actually learning about the financials. Um, anyway, yeah, my name's Hal. My real name, you'll see me all around, HH Trader. But yeah, you'll see me in these entre spaces on Twitter, wherever. You may or may not see me, but I'm always watching. But
It's
yeah.
your it's your live stream. You literally live stream traded this morning on your YouTube channel, and you're like toe stepping around it.
Oh yeah, man. Man, you know, I if the thing is, if I'm gonna trade on a day, I usually know if I'm gonna trade on a day within like the first 30 minutes. If that 30 minutes is looking trash, I just dodge the whole market. I just don't see a purpose. I feel like the market should be a money machine, a printing machine, rather than some kind of war zone where you're entering and getting shot at, ducking behind walls and stuff. It just I don't think you should be so emotionally invested or feel like your life has been threatened just from trying to trade the market.
Yeah, you shouldn't feel like you're getting bonked on the head
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the market. So that's a little inside joke for the real deep crypto people. What's up, Shorter?
Can I be heard now?
Yeah,
Oh
we can hear you
yeah.
now. We've been trying. I don't know what happened, man. I'm glad we can hear you now. What's up?
No, I was trying to comment earlier. I was listening from my laptop and I wasn't able to activate the speaker, I guess, or the microphone, I guess. But I wanted to chime in on a few things. But right now, I wanted to ask. I think it was who else is in the room? That was I think it was Fresh. It
Yeah.
was Fresh.
Yep.
You were saying that you were gonna the thing about the Web3 space that you were seeing was the lucrative the lucrative the lucrative
Like yeah.
possibilities that
Yep.
are in Web3. Um, I wanted to ask you, because when you were saying like people were going to pay you for it, what are your aspects of what people are going to pay you for in the Web3 space?
So I mean, I do like graphic design, digital marketing, stuff like that, right? Like, and I also do game development. So I know that right now those
Mm-hmm.
are big things in the Web3 space. People are building pay to earn games or play to earn games. Sorry, people are building like PFP projects and just projects that need marketing materials, need websites, need all that kind of stuff. And instead of going to somebody who's not in the space, who is like Web 2 specific or whatever, you would come to somebody like me who's already in the space and knows what to do and what you need, and I can do it all for you.
He just
Oh, we
dropped
just
out.
lost Shorter. Yeah. Oh, there he is.
he's
He's back now. You there, Shorter? I think we lost him again. Oh, no, he dropped out again.
Shit.
Well, anyway, yeah, but yeah, man, I just love this space. I love the networks that are built here and the different occupations that I get to see in these rooms, and not just occupations, but the ideas that are brought up are just so vast. I just like the info. I just like information and learning about people. That's how you trade the markets, man. You got to know who's in the market. Learn.
Mm.
Love it.
So you were listening to what Stephan said. You have any input on that? Or you just applying it to the trading?
Well, you can apply it to whatever. I mean, no matter
There you
what you do, the knowledge of the knowledge of the wants of the people in the sector, the knowledge of the actual people in the sector, and then the knowledge of what can become of whatever the sector is pretty much what I'm focused on. I just want to know and be in the know. I believe it was last time, I think Tyrell was talking about execution and how can you execute without a knowledge base. How can you do anything without some kind of database and system, whether it's in your head or in a computer or something that is showing you the overall statistics of what you've been doing. I know Stephan said he was a professional speaker. Well, if you're aiming these arrows of ideas out into a crowd, you need to know who you're hitting or who you want to hit, right? I mean, even with the graphics design, what are people looking for? What are some of the things right now that you've seen that are out there that people are liking, that people are subscribing to, that people are following, and they want to see their brand or their product with that same level of what's the word I'm looking for? The same level of
Quality.
quality. Yeah, let's just go with quality. The same level of quality that they see in some of these high profile or on some of these high profile accounts. Oh, but yeah, man, I just, like I said, man, I like since I've started trading and everything, or even before I started trading, I just loved interacting with people. I am a absolute introvert. I love being alone. I mean, I'm like half vampire. Like you can leave me in a cave, I can watch paint dry, I'm good. But I do like to interact with people and kind of go beyond myself because my ideas are it's almost like being in your own personal echo chamber. My ideas just bounce around my head, but when I can bounce them off other people, they take different shapes, different forms, and they are able to really better me. And by bettering me, it's better for everybody because it's better for my clients, better for everybody because I have more experience.
Bam. That's dead on there.
Yeah, man.
Tyrell. Oh, I was gonna say Tyrell. I don't know. He's been in the room, but he's been quieter than last time. So I'm just trying to see if he's alive, make sure he's okay. But yeah, what's up, Stefan? You've been. What do you think about the episode? We're winding down to the last 10 minutes here. Fresh has been playing Super Mario up above.
Well, I'm just honored to be in the presence of some amazing young and up and coming, rock stars, and even the people that have been around for a while. Like I just, just the fact that we're querying this and we're questioning it and we're having conversations about it is just so amazing to me because, like I said, like what you said, Fresh, is like, there's a lot of people that are not doing anything and stuff like that. But yeah, but there's a lot of people that are, and and it's time for us to all, join together, share ideas, and kick some ass. That's kind of how I look at it. So you know, and support each other in creating the world that we want to create. You know, and just be the, you know, be the example for the people around us, man. You know, I want to be the example for my kids, and I want to, you know, I ultimately, I just, my happiness comes from watching other people's eyes light up, you know. So, and I think a lot of people in this room are probably the same. So I'm just honored to be here and haven't had that conversation. So thanks.
No, no, thank you. Well, thank you. You know, it's last minute too, and I appreciate it. You know, you coming through and dropping all your wisdom, and like I said, taking a pelting there. I did. We had a couple people who had some disagreements with you, but we came out unscathed, all of us together, and that's the most important thing.
Well, the disagreements are awesome. I mean, and that's the way. I don't expect it. I mean, me and you talked about this, Ben, right? You know, you don't want to go.
Oh yeah.
You don't want to go on a channel and, you know, have everybody go kumbaya, my lord. You know, it's just like, and it's freaking annoying, because what happens is everybody just, you know, okay, we're just hearing ourselves speak, and we're not, you know, we're not challenging each other, and we're not growing, we're not coming up with new ideas, we're not creating ahas, and that's what we need to be doing, like, consistently, to be able to you know, poke at people's, you know, limiting beliefs, and move to the you know, the next level of, I would say, evolution through discourse. And, you know, even Jordan Peterson said, like, that's the fight that he's doing right now. He's going out there and saying, you know, stop canceling people, let people speak. And it doesn't matter how offensive their information is, because sometimes through offensive information, we garner knowledge that in normal circumstances we wouldn't allow ourselves to do it.
If we don't discuss it, right, like, then we can't find a common ground, right? Like, we're gonna just continue to be in our little corners, mad at each other, when we don't even realize, like, how similar a lot of the values are. Like, a lot of the people, like, if they took the time to listen and took the time to actually hear what the other side was saying, they'd see that, again, a lot of times it comes from a place of fear or not understanding, and we just need to be able to talk. So, like, like Ben knows, I'm 100% freedom of speech. I don't believe, like, you should, and I'm from Canada, right? Like, I don't believe you should stop somebody from saying stuff, and I don't believe you should compel people's speech. I think that stuff is very dangerous, and I think that it's better for us to have the uncomfortable conversations, because if you just tell somebody, "Oh, shut up," you're not going to hear the point behind those words. You don't have to take everything they say to heart. You don't have to agree with everything they say, but just listen.
Yep. 100%.
That'll fix our whole society. Just listen just a little bit, you know, pass what you want to hear, right? Because so many people, they get what they want to hear and they just cut it off. They're like, oh, that's all I need to hear. Cut it off.
Yep. Oh, I don't need to hear anymore. I don't need to know anymore. Yes, you do. Yes,
we do.
You always need to hear more.
Yep, 100%. We're all students till the day we die. Nobody's a master, nobody's a guru. If they say otherwise, then they're lying to themselves, which means they're lying to everybody else.
Yeah, man, you just do the best you can with what you have and what you know, and you serve people as much as you possibly can. And if, you know, and that's the thing, like, everybody talk, everybody tell your opinion. You know, Mr. Triplet and I are going to have a God conversation soon, because I know he's picking at me a lot. So, yeah, so that is coming, Mr. Triplet. You know, just be careful who you're talking to, though, because I was very agnostic. I denounced all religions for a while, and then I came full circle. So, you know, who knows? Maybe we can we can indoctrinate you in the world of God. How about that, there, Mr. Triplet?
we could do a whole event and charge admission for this. You and Triplet debating religion. Oh my gosh, this is the most.
I want to be on the stage for that one. I want to chime in. I
want in on that one right there. Let me join on that one.
I love
it. Are we taking bets now? Are we taking bets? Where are we going?
Well, listen, whoever takes bets, I'm putting my whole entire life that Mr. Triplet doesn't convert.
Everything I own, you can come. I'll put it in an NFT form, and you can come pick it up whenever you want. I'll bet that I'm that certain. And it's not because, again, like I believe in a God. I believe in a creator of some sort. I don't know where I align on with religion, but I believe in God. But I don't think any of us could convert Triplet.
That's what I was gonna say. God himself could come down and smack Triplet in the face, and he'd still. I don't believe you smacked me. Who are you?
Well, listen, I was saying earlier, right? Like, if God came and told me something, I would still ask him why, or her why.
Oh,
Well,
yeah, most
in
definitely.
Triplet's case, he would just get slapped. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, man.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
Triplet. I'll be right there with you, bro. I'll slap that motherfucker back.
Oh God, this is real crazy. We're getting real crazy at the end of the show. It's getting spicy. So,
So
oh
are we
man,
looking for a tag team match next time, or what are we doing?
a
So what,
tag team match.
it's you and Stefan versus Triplet and Shorter.
Hey, but I didn't get a chance to hear you up on Fresh, man. My shit dropped, and I was trying to let you know, bro. The fact that you was talking about doing services and providing services for payment, that's cool beans with me, bro. It's like, for me, the Web3 space is built off of open source collaboration and sharing of information. And there's a lot of people out here in the Web3 space, like we say on Clubhouse, that are charging for directions to the bathroom. Like, it's a fucking sign on the wall that tells you where the bathroom is.
See, and like that to me, like you're keeping your knowledge gated, and I'm open sourced with my knowledge. If you want to learn from me, you can call me up, you can message me, you can hit me up and say, listen, I want to know about this. Do you know how to do it? If I do, I will welcome you with open arms. I'll teach you everything I know, and I don't need your money. I want you to learn. I want everybody to learn. But if you want me to do it for you, you got to pay me.
There's a pay for that. Understood. See,
Free
now there's a lot of
education.
people. There's a lot of people out here that want you to pay them because they know where you can go get something done. Oh, I know a platform that'll do that for you. You know what I'm saying? Well, yeah, what is
well,
it? That's
I mean, that is
it's
kind
like
of
a finder's
though.
fee. It's a finder's fee, right?
Yeah.
And it just depends on how much you value that. And I wouldn't do that because I think knowledge should be free. If I can access it, so can you.
That's right. It's open source and it's not a finder's fee.
But I'm not just telling you though, right? Like you gotta ask me. If you're interested and I see you really want to learn, I got you, no problem.
Correct.
But again, and I'm not gonna charge you for that. But some people feel like they can give you a finder's fee for somebody else's website or somebody else's product. And that to me is crazy because it's a product you're not going to pay for at all anyways.
Right. If anything, share the link, shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Like share the link and then, I know a platform, but then there's no finder's fee. There's no finder's fee. It's fucking go if you don't want to ask me, go ask ChatGPT or Google or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like
exactly.
There's no fucking finder's fee.
It reminds me of back in the day, like I know a guy. I got a guy.
Yeah, I know a guy.
Well, me and my that I know a guy, bro. Me and my mom have that inside joke where if you say to me, "I know a guy," we look at each other and we say, "There's no guy," because there's never a fucking guy. Nobody knows a guy. When you need the guy,
I know a lot of guys. I know a lot of guys. I know a lot of guys.
Man, I know a guy.
I know a guy that's gonna handle some shit. When I say I know a guy, goddamn
it. So here's how I think about that. About the pricing piece there is you give away all your best knowledge and secrets, and you charge for implementation. For the
absolutely,
that's how you do it. So you give it all away, and then you charge to help someone implement it. That's how you do
it. That's exactly what we were saying. Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. You don't charge for directions to the bathroom. You just charge for actually helping the motherfucker use the bathroom.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Especially if
I'll tell you where the store is.
You're holding it for him, right? Sure.
If I gotta hold it for you, if I gotta pick you up, bend you over, and wipe your ass too, motherfucker, like goddamn, that's extra charge.
I'm pretty,
Darn.
That's right.
I'm
you
pretty,
gotta
I'm pretty
structure that
sure,
shit.
I'm pretty sure we're talking about the people who are working for our president right now who shake his thing because he can't, he can't do it.
That's too funny.
Shout out to those people out there who've got to hold willies for a job. You know, that's rough work.
Hey,
Feel for you.
so dealing with the way that I'm coming in with the Web3 space with the decentralized music label, right? Like it's not even. I'm kind of contradicting myself because I call it like a music group and not a label, because there's really no need for a label in the decentralized world. All I'm actually doing is helping these guys. I'm curating them through a maze of fucking Web3 technology that's available for them to use. So
So you're creating like a Web3 suite rather than like a label per se. You're pointing them and onboarding them.
So you
right.
are you charging them a
on.
finder's fee for that?
Go ahead.
Are you charging them a finder's fee for that?
No, I'm not charging them a finder's fee for it at all. No, I'm not. But what I am charging them for is I'm charging them for any type of activity or royalty or revenue that we generate, whether it be long term or instant. Like we do a show based off of the publishing that we get from the things that I curate. Then I get a piece of that pie, but I'm not asking them for a finder's fee for them utilizing my service. No, I'm not. So, but what I will, and another thing is, I charge a consulting fee for me helping them be an artist or a startup business, and that's done by purchasing a NFT or a subscription fee.
And does that give you one-on-one time with you?
Absolutely.
Then that's exactly basically what we're talking about, right? It's like the knowledge is free, but if you want me to do it or help you do it, there's a price for that. And I think that that's how we're going to build the most value in this space, by giving the knowledge to people.
Yeah, so it's like 3 stages, right? Do it for yourself, do it together, or done for you, right? So
yeah,
you do it together and done for you needs to be paid for. Do it yourself needs to be just here, take it, make it happen. And when you're ready, you want help with implementation, call me, that kind of a thing, right? So I agree.
So the do it yourself and the done for you platforms are no different. So like I was talking with Stephan earlier, and I was saying, like, I believe like you got 7 forms of income. You got the fiat world, the digital world, and the crypto world. And once you take those seven streams, and once you establish those 7 streams, you can multiply them across all 3 platforms, doing the same thing, sort of like the Stephen Hawking's theory, doing the string theory, right? And you have 21 streams of income doing the same shit that you do every day. But in the fiat world, we have a done for you platform or you do it yourself. The learning curve is the only big difference in it, right?
Yep.
So as it comes over into the Web3, if you come over with the mentality of I want somebody to do it for me, then yeah, that you're going to have to pay for that. But if you want to come over and put yourself in the position to be educated and understand what it's like to have your business and be in control of your business, like you were saying earlier, Stephan, being able to know when you're not getting fucked and when you are getting fucked,
Yep.
The artist or the business owner has an opportunity to put themselves in that position when they come over to Web3. And that's where I try to help them, like educate them, like, look, I'm gonna help you with this shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm like artists get 100% of everything that they're doing, and if I'm helping them put in a position or generating a revenue from a platform, I want anywhere between 5 to 2.5% of what they're going to generate off of utilizing that platform, simply because I explained it to them, showed them how to utilize it, put them on to it, onboarded them, this, that, and the third, and this is what it's going to do. As a matter of fact, I might even introduce you to the owner of that platform or the developer of that platform so that y'all can build a relationship. But I'm only getting a piece of what I have my fingers in, if that makes sense.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah, no, that's great.
And that's how it should be.
Agreed. Agreed. You know,
Like
and
I
that whole
think that
secrets
these
thing is stupid, right? You know, keeping secrets from people, it's not right. So
yeah, it's gatekeeping for no reason, right? And like you don't need to gatekeep knowledge. Like the whole point of why we're in the position we're in now is because we gatekeep knowledge. And because if everybody had the access to all the knowledge that we possess throughout the ages, complete and total access, nothing hidden from anybody, we wouldn't be in this position. We would have smarter people. The whole point is that it's been designed to make us less intelligent.
Yep.
It's been designed to gate. It's we've been in the information age for a long time. We got Google, we got Bing, we got everything that you could possibly want. What they've done is they've overloaded the system with information, true information, false information, in between information, all kinds of information. And people are looking out and they're like, you know what? I'm going to work me a nice little job. And I'm going to pay somebody to go and decipher this information and bring me back what I need.
Yep.
You know, that's how TurboTax makes their money. People don't want to do their own taxes. They don't want to go and find the forms and do it. Nah, bro. This is a bunch of googly gump. I don't want to deal with it. Let me pay somebody.
Yep.
And I feel like that's where we've lost. Like that goes back to like the topic of like the fall of society. The ease of access is like the destruction of society, because you when you lose the mind, like you lose everything, right? And so all of like as a whole, the human collective not becoming more intelligent or not being as intelligent as it could be, and then having all this ease of access to all this stuff that adds these unnecessary conveniences will destroy us.
Yeah, and I think it's another thing too is how specialized our society is. When you go to college, if you want to go and get a specific degree in something, you want to. It's everything is so specific. Even when you talk to counselors, even in high school, talk to counselors, they're trying to get you to specify something. They don't want you to have a broad skill set. They don't want you to be able to go over and do things with computers and go over and do things in the real estate and go over. It's the broadness that we've lost. It is too much space. They tell you, hey, you need to narrow down. I remember when I was in school, they were like, yeah, you need to narrow down. I was like, no. Why? The world is, look, I got the whole world to look at. You telling me to narrow down? I got wide open eyes. I can see, I'm good at too many things to narrow down.
Yeah.
Well, and that's like from the people that I learned in my life, like that was the opposite of what they were teaching me. And then going to school and hearing, no, you should focus on one thing. When I have people in my life that not only are telling me, but are also living proof that if you focus on multiple things, you're more fulfilled.
Yep.
And isn't that what life is about? Like, are you really living for a dollar? Like, actually, at the end of the day, like, or is it about feeling fulfilled?
That's what about life. That's what I think life's about. It's about fulfillment.
I'm about to say, Stephan, it sounds like you made progress here.
Well, I mean, I'll give it to you, Stephan, but it was kind of my thinking. It was already my philosophy.
Listen,
like,
guys, this is not mine anything. Okay, so this is the other thing. When we get into this space of expression, think about it in terms of this flowy type of expression. You might want to consider that those thoughts are not coming from you. You know, so
exactly.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I believe personally, and I don't know about like how anybody else feels, but a lot of times I feel like I don't know anything about anything, and then if you bring the topic up, it's like I connect to the ethos, like to the neural net, and now I have the information that I need, and now I know everything I need to know.
Yep.
And I can go like so now I know, like, if you're telling me the truth, if you're lying to me, if you know what I mean, if it's a fact or like a pipe dream, or
Yeah, because especially if you interact with people that are tapped in, what we would call tapped in. So tapped in is, you move beyond the concept of articulation of thought. There's stuff that comes out of my mouth that sometimes I stand beside myself. I say, holy shit, did I just say that? And it's just like, the truth is, no, I did not say that. Right?
So you believe like you were God's messenger.
What's that?
You believe like you were God's messenger in that time?
We're all God's messenger. Yes. Yeah. That's what I believe. So if we allow ourselves to tap into a flowy state of mind, we tap into universal consciousness, which in my opinion, I'm not saying that that's the truth, but in my opinion, we're tapping into God's library. And then
Well, I believe it's some kind of library, because I know, like, I tap into it for sure, 100%. So I know that whoever keeps this database, I've accessed that database.
yeah, I mean, and you can access it really fast if you want to go do an ayahuasca journey or something like that. If you really wanted to, you can tap into that shit really quickly. So the idea is you either allow yourself to get into a space of flow, or you use chemicals to get you into a space of flow. And once you get into that space of flow, then you can tap into, and honestly, if you really want to know what I think it is that we allow ourselves to resonate at a frequency that information exists on. That's really essentially what it is. So we start that's what we do, right? So
just to go on this topic, have you seen the news about them using shit.
Come on, tap in, baby. Tap in.
Frequency to skull, that thing, that skull.
No, they're using the DMNA, the base from ecstasy. They're using that drug to cure PTSD and
Oh yeah.
and
DMT, you mean?
huh?
Are you saying psilocybin or DMT or which
I
one?
think it's MDMA, I think.
MDMA is another one.
No, it's DMT. I think it might be DMT.
Yeah, that's dimethyl That's the stuff that makes you go and speak to aliens and shit. So
Yeah, that shit. Yeah, they're using that shit. They're giving it to people in doses and letting them go on controlled trips, in controlled areas, to treat their PTSD, their anxiety, to treat all types of mental disorders, and the opioid addiction and all that kind of stuff. And they've been doing it with the veterans. They've been doing it with the veterans for the past 3 years. And the fact that they're doing it for the opioid addiction is like, that's old news. Like, y'all should have been doing that shit, 10, 15 years ago.
Right. Yeah, well, I think right now we're starting, and that's the thing. We're coming up with these new sort of things that are available to us that we can cross-contextualize and make it more useful for us, right? And if it's done right, like, psilocybin, which is mushrooms, right? And then DMT, which gives you like a new sort of perceptual filter of meaning. And that's when you have a new perceptual filter of meaning, then everything starts to change in your reality, right? So if you could do it chemically, or it's not even chemically, it's biologically but chemically type of thing. But essentially what we're doing is we're allowing ourselves to maximize the gifts that we have on this planet to be able to serve us in a very powerful way. Like, I think pot was designed by God so that we can chill the fuck out. That I really do think that that's what that is.
Yeah, but that's only if you smoke it.
Yeah, well, you can smoke it, eat it, ingest it, right?
Yeah, but you get different properties from it from ingesting it, But I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like you were talking about with the mushrooms, the turkey tail mushroom being able to help rid bodies of cancer. Like, why isn't that like heavily publicized and heavily used?
Well, it's going to start because I think we had a sort of an unrealistic faith in our pharma system, and now it's waning. So we're forced to become our own doctors, and all. That's the problem that I'm having right now. Like, my wife is not feeling well, and we've gone to several different doctors and all that kind of stuff. And the only guy that has ever been able to give my wife any kind of sort of like healing, if you will, is a naturopath that understands biochemistry and basically helped her heal her biome, or is in the process the first time around. And so we've lost him since COVID, because he just kind of disappeared. I don't even know where the hell he is anymore. But that was the kind of support, which was this preventative, or this new mentality of we have the capacity within us to be able to heal all our ailments if we allow ourselves to move away from treating ourselves just with chemicals, right? So I think it's starting to change. I mean, if you look at globalhealing.com and some of these big, Dr. Mercola and all these guys, these guys are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, not smaller and smaller and smaller, because more and more people are buying their stuff, because we're getting to a point that we're gonna have to become our own doctors, and we're probably gonna start having apothecaries soon.
Yeah. That actually, I've seen a few, and that's the thing. That's again the symptoms we're talking about coming from. We're going all the way back, just like humans do, back into the cycle of the beginning of the show here, where we were talking about, all this type of stuff, and that is where we're at again here. It's big pharma. It was money that was behind all of that, putting the education behind a gate.
Yeah.
That's why, because holistic therapy has been around for a long time. I mean, there's like, you look in the Japanese dynasties, Chinese dynasties, those dynasties have been around longer than a lot of dynasties, and those ones have holistic healing all the way back thousands of years. But that doesn't make the government or make the big pharma money.
No. No, and I think that's the limited mindset, is that there's limitations in the world, so therefore we have to hoard all this money, we have to do all that. But the thing is, I believe we have unlimited resources on the planet. So, and if we don't, we can create it with our minds. So,
yeah, Stefan, that's true. And what you were saying earlier about the doctors and their products growing larger and bigger too. That's also true and great. But that doesn't stop them from being killed, and just from walking their dog, and then they're found butt naked hanging from a tree.
Yeah.
That's how that was what was happening 2 years ago. Silently being killed during COVID. You know what I mean?
I think to be honest, guys, I think we're going through a war right now, and the white hats are versus the black hats, and the white hats are secretive about what their plan is, but slowly but surely I'm starting to see a very big shift across the planet. So I'm going to hold the faith that the amazing things are in the process of happening right now. Like, don't be surprised if all the weird flooding and all that kind of stuff is not purposeful. So,
No, I'm not surprised by any of that at all. But I think the pharmaceutical thing that we're talking of with the holistic thing is no different than the volatile crypto world.
Yeah.
No, you're right. And it goes across, like the weather thing that Stephan was talking about. I think we mentioned it on Monday. India is been controlling their weather. All right. So again, it's all these symptoms of the same thing. And today I hope everybody here has took some value from everybody else, and especially Stephan, the positive outlook that he has brought to us on humanity in general and Web3 and what it can do. We need that. We need optimism. Not optimism. Yeah, optimism. I'm sorry. It's blockchain too. I got confused for a second. I was like, is that the same one? Yeah. We need optimism against us pessimists like me and Fresh.
Well, I don't think you guys are pessimists. I think, honestly, once again, if I were just to leave everything as is, I could see exactly how you're thinking, right? But I also believe in being able to manipulate reality by choice. So I really do believe that, because I could, like, I'll give you a really microcosm example. If I'm feeling down and I come downstairs and I start talking to my family, I'm like, hey guys, how's it going? You guys okay? Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Then it's a continuance of what I'm feeling, and then they start to feel it. But if I come down and I want to change my reality, I go, hey guys, how's it going? What are we doing today? With a lot of energy, it shifts the energy around me instantly, right? So we have that capacity to be able to do it. So we need to allow ourselves the leeway to play in a world of possibility, and to to have faith in the world of the possibility.
I think this is the best time of what you're talking about with the possibilities, because people, I mean, the belief is through the roof. I mean, they are calling themselves them, they, these, believing they're purple dinosaurs, everything. They just need a targeted system to be able to do something purposeful with that belief instead of just something that's nonsensical.
Right. Yeah, they need to direct the vision, right? So, and that's the thing. We all here in this room, want to take on personal responsibility to support the people around us to help them direct their vision. And that's what I mean by bringing people to the light. Like we just, there's nothing better than that, guys. There's nothing better than that, to serve your fellow man. There's nothing better.
And with that, I think we should leave the show there. This has been fantastic. Appreciate everybody joining. Shorter, Tyrell, HH, Fresh, Stephan, Triplet. We got Florin down there, Julian, F2Y. I think that's how I say that. We had a whole ton of other people who's been watching. We appreciate everybody joining again. I can't say it enough because we all are trying to build a better future. I believe that's what it all boils down to. And this is important. All this is important, these discussions. So we'll be back. We're going Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Sometimes a little bit over. We might get a little spicy in here. It's been off and on spicy show so far today, and then we'll have the weekend event this weekend where we'll be doing some type of tournament, some type of giveaway, some type of stuff. So be sure to tune in for that. Stephan, you're always welcome here at the DLA DAO show anytime. If you guys haven't yet, go check out DLA DAO. We're on the DSO blockchain, an actual decentralized autonomous organization trying to help onboard people from Web 2 to Web 3, and we focus on doing that through play-to-earn gaming. Also, check out the Framework Fortune Media Network, where we have HH Trader, Reliable Rudy, Stock Muncher, all types of different traders, gamers who are streaming on their YouTube channels, their Twitches, they're all over Twitter. And follow everybody here in the room, too. Everybody on Entra, we all family here. We're all family on the DSO blockchain, and we want to be family with the rest of the crypto world, the rest of the blockchains, if they'd stop being so mean against us. That's okay. Soon somebody made the comment to me that DSO were like their weird DSO cousins. Well, one day we're going to go from your DSO cousins to your DSO daddies. Appreciate everybody joining us as always. Stay safe out there. Until next time.
All right, everybody.